The next artist that we're going to look at is a guy by the name of Leadbelly. And if you haven't heard of Leadbelly, he was an early blues guitar player. He used to play a 12-string guitar, and he actually kind of had a rough road. His first recordings were actually done when he was in jail. So there were these historians, and they were paid to go out and to record folk music and kind of for the Library of Congress. And so they went out and they found all sorts of different people, and they kept hearing about this guy Leadbelly. And he was actually, like I said, in jail. I think he was on like a chain gang doing kind of hard labor. And they found him and pulled him into this small kind of an office that was for the foreman, and set up their recording studio, and brought in a guitar and had him play and recorded some of these early songs. And once he got released, and he was able to travel and do all sorts of other things, and he became very kind of influential. And you'll hear kind of these bass lines similar to Maybelle Carter. He's got a slightly different style of doing it, but again, a lot of that kind of bass line, playing with on those top strings, and then also playing the melody down at the bottom, and then singing as well. So he's kind of doing it all. And the song we're going to listen to is Goodnight Irene, which is an old kind of classic. And as we're listening to that, then what I want you guys to do is we're going to start looking at historical photographers. So we're going to go through people like Edward Curtis that photographed the Native Americans, and then starting to look at some of the very early kind of art photographers. So people like Edward Steichen, Alfred Stieglitz, Paul Strand, and Ansel Adams. And their work was right around that time of the 20s, 30s. Even Ansel Adams was right around that first part of the 30s. And that's right when Leadbelly was starting to record too, so around the 1930s. Edward Curtis obviously is much earlier, since that's the 1850s, things like that for the Native Americans. But they didn't have music recording back then. So go ahead and start that song and look up these photographers and find one or two of them to place inside your gallery.